Hey y'all, it's me, Majora, and I'm speaking. Why? Because it's Majora Speaks. I realized I didn't have a little intro for you, so this is a little different than expected, as is a lot of the content today. I've got a console that I'm going to talk about that you wouldn't expect. I've got a game that I didn't expect to get very far in, but I did. I've got a video response that I didn't expect to make, but no matter the expectation, you can definitely expect some great content. Let's look forward to it. I'm gonna kick things off with this first gaming hardware review and let it go from there. Without further ado, it's time to talk. Let's talk Majora Speaks style. Oh yeah! What a beautiful console we have here. Unfortunately, I never really got my fair share with it. But recently, I've been trying to go back and enjoy the PlayStation 1 and the games it has to offer. I started with Pac-Man World, which was a game I got from my sister when I was like a couple of years old. And I was enjoying it. It was a little tricky, but I stopped and, resumed my play sessions every other day. Alex and Spencer basically had to drag me through Metal Gear Solid for our map out video, but I did finish it. But I noticed something was wrong once I started going back into Chrono Cross. And the reason is I was falling in love with this game, which is normal. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Chrono Trigger as well, but this was just like such a step up. But every hour or hour and a half I was playing it, my eyes were getting so tired and I just couldn't continue playing even though I wanted to. And that's when I realized maybe it was time to take a step up from these. These are standard AV cables that connect through red, yellow, and white cables. And they don't project great onto the flat screen TV. And I think it was causing me a certain tiredness. And so I figured, maybe it's time that I upgrade and I look into upscaling my PlayStation now that I'm getting into the library. And so I got myself a Hyperkin HD TV cable adapter for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Today, I'm going to walk you through what's in the box, what it looks like on the TV, and just my overall assessment of the adapter. So let's take a look at what you get inside the box. So you get two major cables with this. The first is the adapter, and the second is a USB power source. Let's start with the adapter. There are two ends to this. One goes into the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, and the other is a standard HDMI port. In the adapter itself, there's not much going on. There is a power supply cord, which we'll use this for, and a switch for 4.3 or 16.9. 16.9 will fill the whole TV screen, while 4.3 looks more like you would see on a standard square CRT television. It's up to you what you want to play with. I think with like the PS1 games, they might look better in 4.3, but really, it's good that you have the option. The USB cable, I believe this is micro USB. I'm not entirely sure, I can't name it, but you can take a look, you can confirm in the comments below. The other end is USB. So this end goes into the adapter, and this end, if your HD TV has a port for it, you can put it right in there and it's going to charge the adapter. If not, you will need to invest separately in a little dock for it, but you may have some around the house that are multi-purpose and will work with this, such as, I don't know, like an iPhone dock or something. Don't quote me on that, but get this first and see if you can use it with that. One thing I would like to point out is that this is not as smooth at going into the back of the unit as a standard AV But it's worked for me, and I've not had any problems, and I've been able to get it in and out of the console easily. With that being said, I want to show you what a couple PS1 games look like on the HD TV, and then also what a PS2 game looks like. I'm not going to go into everything today. Welcome to my world. Pac-Man world, that is. This is first the composite version of the game that it looks like in standard audio visual cables on a HD TV. One of the first things you'll notice is that it's a little blurry. The text is a little jaggy, even the fruits, and especially Pac-Man here on the screen. That would be the typical way that I remember the PlayStation 1 is as blurry. I'm going to let you just absorb what the game looks like in AV for a little bit. Nothing like a good butt bounce, am I right? Let's take a look at butt bounces in HD. Oh yeah, look at that fruit. I'd eat that and throw that in my fruit bowl. The text is crisp, so are the visuals. This is not what I remember the PS1 looking like, but damn does it look good. I'm very impressed overall with just how sharp the image is coming across. This is even sharper than my 64 HD cables. So yeah, it's upscaling really good for Pac-Man World, I gotta say. Let's take a look at some gameplay. Even at the menu screen here, it's a little better. Still, you know, kind of color palette-ish. But I do like how, you know, crisp the lines are for Pac-Man and even the worlds and everything. It's not super noticeable that, like, you know, this game is playing in HD compared to, like, our taste for modern games. But yeah, I'll let you go ahead and look at some HD gameplay for a little bit. Oh man, I have been talking up a storm about Chrono Cross, and I'm really excited to show you the differences between Chrono Cross in AV versus HD. This is the composite version of Chrono Cross, what it looks like in standard red, yellow, white audio visual. You can tell this is really just a beautiful game that deserves to look its finest. The way it currently looks is good. The textures are wonderful on the load screen, but there's still that slight blur around the letters of the text and even the sea creatures. This game could really do with a visual overhaul, but in the meantime, this is what it looks like in its standard version. In the demo of the gameplay, you can even see really just how many layers there are to the adventuring. And again, you have some of those problems with jaggies and blurriness, which is really a damn shame because this game is beautiful. Have no fear though, we are going to show you how to upscale this in HD and exactly what it looks like. Chrono Cross in HD, It's about time. Get it? Well, anyways, isn't it something that Chrono Cross looks probably as good as a PS3 game today? It's really impressive. This is the HD version. As you could tell, a lot of that blurriness has been resolved. The turtle looks beautiful. Oh man, I'd keep that as a pet, but I don't know if that would be, some form of animal cruelty. So let's let it stay in the ocean. The text is a lot clearer. The visuals are very good, although it looks a little bit darker. Let's take a look at the gameplay. This is probably what's most important. Everything is super crisp and detailed. You can even see the rays of light in the background as Sarge and his team is, patrolling the area. I'll let you enjoy it in HD for a little bit. I'll shut up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Time for time. Because we're talking about time in Chrono Cross. Did you know that Chrono is actually the Latin god for time? But this game doesn't feature Chrono, it features Sarge, and I have surged my way through 12 hours and 44 minutes of Chrono Cross. This is a game about time. It's a turn-based RPG on the PlayStation 1, and I wanted to log my experiences at this stage in the game. I'm not far enough in to call this a review, but when I am far enough in Chrono Cross, you can bet that I'll be over on Spencer's channel, RPG Archive, to go archive my thoughts on the game and its history with him. Check it out! In the meantime, here are some of my current thoughts with my playthrough so far. This is a game about time, and it's not in the sense of going backward or forward in time. There's actually parallel universes, in a sense, where there's one reality that exists, but somehow you mysteriously find yourself wound up in a reality where something else occurs that's tragic. I guess I can give a little spoiler. It happens within the first hour of the game, but it's worth pointing out that in the second timeline, Sarge isn't alive. And so there's always this element of mystery. It's handled pretty well for the most part. It's a little tacky in the sense of they replay this scene over and over again where Sarge is looking sinister and he's holding a knife with blood on his hands, and you're left to wonder what the hell happened. And I'm not crazy about the way it's told,
But I love the idea of two separate universes of the same world. And it really does make you explore and see the differences and talk to different characters, and also consider, have I visited this area, and have I also visited this area in a different time? It's really cool. You meet a lot of party characters, way more than in Chrono Trigger. I think there's like up to 30 that you can ally with, but it's unexpected, and a lot of them don't really have that much substance, which is kind of unfortunate. I found that of the 6 or 7 characters that I had encountered and got to join my team, only 2 of them really meant anything to me because of their importance in the overall game. And it's kind of a shame, because there is a lot of opportunity with the characterization for the models, for the archetypes. They're like cool molds. There's this guitar rock star named Nicky, and no, he's not little Nicky, but he is cool, and I would like to get to know more about him, and what his concert would have sounded like, and maybe see him on a stage, shredding and performing. But all you really know is that he helps you infiltrate the Viper Manor. That's about it. He's got a sister, okay, but within 12 hours of gameplay, I didn't see anything else interesting about him. There's a couple throwaway characters. There's a dog you can ally with in the beginning of the game. I don't know. I have not really felt compelled to change my party up from the current way as you see it on the screen, and that's unfortunate. But we can definitely talk about the main character, Sarge. This is, I'd say, a step up from Chrono in Chrono Trigger. First off, he just has a very lifelike appeal to him. He looks very cool. He has this kind of seafarer vibe to him, and throughout the game I'd say he's about 95% of a silent protagonist. But he does have some selectable dialogue options, not many, but some, and it does give him that little extra bit of character and also player choice where you can kind of resonate with him. I don't have any problems with silent protagonists to begin with, but in this case he is slightly better than a silent protagonist. What really makes all of these characters stand out is how they operate in battle. There's a very interesting system that occurs where you can select attacks on a 1 through 3 scale, and they deplete your stamina meter. Your stamina meter starts at 7, and each level of the attack scale that you pick will deplete the stamina meter by that much. So you're probably wondering, why do I pick a 2? Why do I pick a 3? If I could just pick 1 and do that attack a bunch of times. Well, the level 1 attack does the least amount of damage, while the level 3 attack does the most. However, as you go down, the percentage of the attack landing goes down. You can chain it so that you can do like a 1, 2, 3, and you're pretty much guaranteed to hit with the 2 and the 3. But there are other clever ways to play with it. And then you can also chain element attacks into the chain attacks. You can also decide which character goes first. You don't have to do, left to right. It doesn't really matter what the party organization is. And another thing that throws it off is that the enemy combatants can interfere with how you attack. This sounds complicated, but in reality, you warm up to it after, I'd say, a good hour or two, and it becomes one of the most robust combat systems that you could experience. I love how you can equip your party members with elements of different types. There's 6 types: water, fire, grass, voltage, I think it's earth actually, and light and dark. And certain characters have certain affinities. Sarge is a light affinity, while Kid is a fire affinity. And so you'll do extra damage when you use elements of the same affinity. Also notice the field effect in the upper left screen. So when you max out the field effect, or when you get a little chain going, it increases the damage of attacks of that affinity. So if I had a full field effect of light, and then I used Sarge's dash and slash, it would do super extra damage on top of the insane damage it already does. A couple other cool things you can do. You can run from every single fight, even boss fights. That's helpful. I love that you can heal after battles using your elements and not have to deplete a mana bar. And you can also use consumable health items if you want to make sure that you have enough health. There are save features throughout the terrains, but if you're in the overworld, you can save at any time. It's very Final Fantasy-esque. And in general, it's a pretty intuitive game that plays well and looks beautiful. I love the animations for some of these attacks and seeing how you get more of them and can equip your team members with whichever one you so please. It's really cool, and it's really diverse, and it makes you think about how you're going up against enemy units. Sometimes it can be kind of easy, the game overall, but as you get further into it, there are some boss battles that pack a punch. On top of that, the game is just beautiful. I do like the kind of watercolory look of the overworld and everything, and I think the character portraits are nice, but the real star of the show is once you engage in battles and you see the terrain and you see how things move, and also the battle animations, and of course a stellar soundtrack. I love it. I love listening to it. A couple of the tracks. I'm still exploring some of the library. I'm kind of nervous to spoil anything for myself as far as future songs, so I'm putting a pause on that. But I've had a blast playing through it for hours on end, and if you can find a way to upscale this game, absolutely encourage it. It's worth playing simply just for what an alluring experience it is. I'm not going to say it's the best story in an RPG that I've played, but it has just about everything else that you could need, and I buy into it. I buy into this world and these characters, even if they are not super well developed. But that's my log of where I'm at in Chrono Cross. Try not to spoil anything for me, or I'll have to cross you. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with more video content to come.
I'm a nice guy.
That's why I picked you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment in Majora T-Cast Returns. And we're returning Awe Spectacular with Awe de Spencer. That was almost European. What's up, Spencer?
Not much, man. It's a pleasure. I can't wait. I've been watching this show with all the different clips for forever, and I'm excited to be on it again.
Yay! It's been a while. You were on a Majora T-Cast like years ago.
Yeah, like before the button mappers, right? Like right, like in that time frame, but before it, I think. Yeah.
We did too. We did one on Dragon Quest, and we did one on something else, I think.
I'm sure there will be no overlap in what we talk about.
Absolutely not. But unironically, we're gonna plug your channel, RPG Archive. Woohoo! It's the birth of your channel.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun going back. Right now, honestly, it's just been a lot of going back and playing old games, but I can't wait. Eventually, we'll be starting some new ones. Actually, pretty soon, you and I are going to start a new one on here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we want to spoil it, but that'll be really exciting.
There's no secrets here. I've been talking it up a bunch, but, you know, we did just finish Chrono Trigger. There's an excellent archived podcast of that with me, you, Console Kev, and ya boy, JD.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So. Yeah, no, that was super fun. And it seems like you're getting into the Chrono series, which is both exciting and a little bit disappointing because the one you're playing is pretty much it. So you can't go any further than that. But unless you want to do Radical Dreamers, which nobody does.
That's true, and I don't necessarily do. But the benefit of Chrono is that it's endlessly enjoyable, and some might say timeless.
I would agree.
I thought of that. I thought we could kick off here with the fun question. If you could retire in any video game environment, where would it be?
Whoa. Well, most of what I like I can't do because I wouldn't like to live in the past. So any kind of world that doesn't have this what we're doing right now, I would not like to be there. So
Mm.
that rules out most of them. Persona sounds fine. Except that I would be an adult, so everything that goes on in that game would be completely foreign to me, and hopefully it would be after the calamities of whatever they're doing. So, I guess it would be Persona.
Some kind of Neo Tokyo.
Yeah, or I guess I would avoid doing the SMT because those always just kind of depress me. So I wouldn't want to retire in there and just be collecting scraps for the rest of my life.
You don't want the Phantom Thieves on your back as an adult.
Yeah, I'll just have to be a good guy.
There you go. I was thinking I like the more waterfronty areas. So, you know, we're doing Chrono Cross right now, and I do like the Termina area. I like the little town where Korch is from. It's just nice, kind of residential, suburban. But also there's an area in Banjo-Tooie, which is not necessarily an RPG, but, you know, or some might consider it an RPG. I don't know. It depends on what people define RPG as. It's called Jolly Roger's Lagoon, and there's a fun area there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Chrono Cross is very pretty. It's very, very pretty. I'll just leave it at that. Like it would be very nice. That would be like the island retiring getaway.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that. But I guess you just have to keep playing, and we'll see if your answer is always going to be to retire in the Chrono Cross area.
There's gonna be some apocalyptic scenario with any choice. Mario Bros. Oh, Bowser's come. So I'm willing to look past the end of the world scenario.
That's good.
In that case, I'd just make Majora's Mask. Oh, the moon's coming. Who knows? It looks great tonight.
Yeah. It keeps on coming and then it goes back up. I'm cool with that.
It has a face. Did you know the moon has a face?
Well, with Majora's Mask, that's an interesting one because hopefully you'd retire with like the 3 best days of your life, and you just kind of just get to repeat them.
Well, that's true, but you never know that you repeated them. So unless you're Link, are you Link?
Maybe
you're Link in my book. So let's talk about I guess the theme of this is really just RPGs and what do they mean to you and why are they important. Take me back. Where did it all begin for you?
Well, I mean, my love for it definitely begins in Chrono Trigger. I mean, I played Pokemon and loved it, but I didn't love. I think everyone's story with Pokemon is pretty similar. They didn't love it because it's an RPG. They loved it because it was an adventure with Pokemon. You could have made like something other, like a different kind of game, and people would have loved it anyway, or something. Maybe not, but I didn't love RPGs. I just loved Pokemon, and that was it. And then I kind of hated RPGs for the most part. Like I'd seen Final Fantasy VII. I saw a friend play 9, and I was like, why do you just wait for people to hit you? I mean, ironically, I was just again playing Pokemon, but I just like why are you standing there and just letting them smack you? It's like, well, because it's their turn, and I'm like, why would you take turns in combat? Which, again, ironically, that's how people used to fight. Like in Europe, it was a turn-based game, which is again pretty mind-boggling. I can't even fathom that now. But and then Chrono Trigger happened. I was playing it at a friend's house. I played it on their emulator, on a Super Nintendo emulator. I'm like, what is this? It's like, oh, it's Chrono Trigger. It's a pretty good RPG. Like, whatever. And I just like dabbled in it. I'm like, oh my god, like I traveled through time. And I just love how quick it was. It didn't like mess around with you too much. It's just like you're back in time now. You got to fight these things. I loved the pace of it, and I just the characters just drew me in, and I couldn't get enough of it. And I immediately went home and learned how to do emulators and got that game and played all the way through it. And I hunted for that experience for about 2 years. That would be how I started with RPGs. How about you?
I owned Dragon Warrior Monsters on the Game Boy Color as well as Dragon Warrior 3. So I had some precursor to Dragon Quest 3 before we played it. And I did love that kind of adventure aspect, as well as just this strategizing element that comes with turn-based games that doesn't necessarily come with a lot of action-style games. Kingdom Hearts. So... Sorry, I coughed. I don't know where that came from. But the turn-based thing was always hit close to home for me, as did some of the Dragon Quest elements. I don't know why Dragon Quest stayed so strong with me over the years. I guess I just really had that affection for raising my own teams and this kind of monster ranching thing. I did love Pokemon for a long time, but I don't know. I don't consider Pokemon's kind of its own thing aside from RPGs. And so the love of like the JRPG as we know it today came later. It came when I became exposed to the genre. I remember I was in Hawaii and I was just building up my game collection a little bit. I had gone through college with my N64 and a copy of Mario Kart DS. That was it. But, you know, as a broke college kid, you don't have a lot of money. So one person on one of the military bases on Craigslist, remember when we used to use Craigslist to get stuff? They were selling 3 DS games complete for $10 a piece. And I took a bus ride out for about an hour just to get them. One of them was Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. I remember playing Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga and really enjoying that, which I guess would count as the kind of RPG that we know and love.
Yeah.
There was a second one I'm not remembering, and then there was Dragon Quest IV on the DS, and I adored Dragon Quest IV playing it, but I couldn't beat it. I was just getting stuck, and I didn't want to use the walkthrough, and so I put it down for a while. And then eventually I moved back home, but I still had that copy, and I committed to playing it, and it was one of the first standard JRPGs I ever played and finished. I loved it so much. I was hunting that kind of experience like you. I went ahead, I played Persona 4. I got myself PS5. I got Persona 5, or PS4. I didn't get a PS5. Where was I? In the future.
Impressive.
I played Chrono Trigger on the DS. You know, and I would collect a bunch of them. I got Batten Kaitos on the GameCube. I got a bunch of cool ones, and I really like. I got some pleasure out of like just experiencing this style of gameplay. When I got my 3DS and I upgraded, I really got it for Pokemon. But 2 games that I loved and I experienced were Fire Emblem Awakening and SMT4. And so I kind of planted my feet in multiple series that I really consider pivotal to my love of RPGs today.
Well, it's funny you say like you're hunting that experience. I think that was such a detriment to me. In a way, Chrono Trigger was a curse because I spent the next couple of years being like, okay, I need to recreate this feeling I had when I played Chrono Trigger. And I would plow through RPGs. I downloaded a Super Nintendo emulator. Like, obviously I had it. And I was like, all right, what are the RPGs? Let me Google it. What are the RPGs on the Super Nintendo? Final Fantasy IV. Put it in. This doesn't play like Chrono Trigger. Next. All right, Final Fantasy VI. This doesn't play like Chrono Trigger. Next. This doesn't play like it. Okay, let me play some PlayStation games. Final Fantasy VII. Nope, not it. All right, what's next? And I'm going through. I'm just trying to duplicate like Chrono Trigger, which, as much as I love Chrono Trigger, the beauty of what we're doing here about these games that they're so different, and so like they're trying to be something else, and I just did not understand that, and I was just hunting that, and I think nostalgia is such a killer. And I to this day, I have to like train myself, like, just because this isn't like the thing that you're wanting doesn't mean it's bad. And because I might not, Ford once had a really great quote. He said, if we gave people what they wanted, they would all have faster horses. You know, and it's like, oh yeah, that's true. Like they'd be like, man, why don't you just make my horse faster? No, we'll make you a car. We'll do something crazy cool. So like, I've tried to refocus my brain to be like, okay, these RPGs are all different, so let me just try to experience what they're trying to do and get all these new experiences. And I've had to do that, you know, in the past like 15 years, just reprogram my brain to not be so one-track minded, which is hard.
Woo! What's going on, everybody? I am driving, doing a video response. I'm a man of many talents. But one thing I definitely want to do is a response to my good friend, Mr. Terry309. He asked me a question in the Discord that is very much deserving of its own video. I did a take earlier. I wasn't thrilled with it, so I'm just in the mood. I'm in the zone. I got probably good 30 minutes before I get back, and I'm going to address it to the best of my ability. Let's see how well I can get this off the top of my head. In the Discord, where you can leave a question for Q&A segments with me, he asked, a question about YouTube monetization, and it was set up as sort of a binary. I'm going to address both parts of the binary, but I kind of have my own angle to it. He asked, should monetization be removed from YouTube altogether, or should all creators get paid? I like the question. I think if he had the chance to specify for it, it would probably make for a more transparent and clear question, but I'm gonna make some inferences as to what he's referring to, and I'm gonna address these piece by piece. So let's tackle this with the first half of the question. Should monetization be pulled from under the rug? Should you take monetization aspects out of YouTube in 2021? And, you know, I think where this is coming from is not so much the AdSense monetization, like placing ads on your video, but just all monetary incentive to making videos. And this is a callback for a lot of pre-monetization era YouTubers who are just in this for fun and making videos to be a part of a community. And I understand why that is desirable for people who were there at the time. They lived it, they experienced it, and they're like, you know, we had such a great thing going with video responses and people communicating, and a lot of those people seem to have dropped off, and it's just not the same anymore, and blah, blah, blah. Look, I feel for them. I do. I get why they have that sense of entitlement to that YouTube before the modern YouTube, but it's just not sustainable anymore. I don't think so anyway. Feel free to disagree, and I'd love to hear the disagreement, but YouTube is a Google subsidiary now, and we have almost 1 million hours of content uploaded to the platform every single day. There has to be an AdSense model in order to keep it funded, unless enough people paid for YouTube premium accounts, and that's just not the case. In fact, they had to raise their rates rate recently. And to me, it's kind of absurd, because I'm not going to pay that much to get ads removed from my videos after like being hyper cognizant of my budget. That's a major expense, like the $15, $16 a month just for that. I do love YouTube. I love all of the videos that are available on the platform, but I know that it's like a Silicon Valley owned like corporation, and how much could it, you know, do they really have in terms of employees and funding and everything? And I'm sure they've got funding for, you know, millennia, but the point is, if nobody upkeeps the servers, then the site crashes. We have to give some credit to YouTube here. They fight off lawsuits. You know, there was that big one about YouTube Kids or whatever a year ago. And, you know, wherever you stand in terms of like the discrepancy about like content being distributed to kids on YouTube and, you know, signing up for accounts, they have to be able to defend themselves. They need a lawyer. I know, like there's a big YouTuber I watch who has his own kind of legal team, and, you know, it's not as black and white as people tend to make it out to be. So I don't think you can reasonably bring back the YouTube of old. Now, of course, there are other platforms. You know, there's Dailymotion or whatever, and you can say like, oh, well, you know, if you pulled AdSense today, all those people who were in this in the first place to make money would go to the other platform. But honestly, I think that's a detriment. I think that's a detriment to the community. I think it's beneficial to have people from multiple walks of life in the same kind of vicinity communicating with each other so they can share opinions. We're not always receptive to them, especially in the gaming community. I know it's a buzzword or whatever, but I think it's really good to have people who want to be successful through the YouTube means, whatever that means to them, but also people who are willing to challenge that idea and say that, you know, this is a platform for individual expression. I don't think it's necessarily harmful to either. I do think people need to be more willing to be open-minded about each other's positions. I think too frequently we are dictators in our own sense about what people need to do with their lives and their money and their approaches. I don't, like, listen, I've changed my views over the year, and I should be able to change them. Back in the day when I was very much anti, like, Patreon, I said monetize if you want, but Patreon, I didn't like the idea. I did a whole like 10-minute spiel about it where it was like I was cursing and stuff. I hated that video. I deleted it like a week later. But I've sincerely changed my view on that And I think it's a good thing to be allowed to like think about where you are at that stage in your life and be reflective. At the time, I was broke. You know, I was just bitter. I was just bitter that people were making a buck on YouTube and I wasn't. Nowadays, I say go get it, man. You know, be entitled to make some money, which is really, I think, where I should segue to Terry's second part of the question. Should all content creators get paid on YouTube? And like, to me, it's less about should everyone who makes content get paid, but if you're, you know, should you be entitled to make money through YouTube as a service? I'm not the YouTube guy. I'm gonna start, like, I'll make the disclaimer. I do not work for YouTube. I am not in a position to tell you what you should and should not do through YouTube. I have not read all of the, you know, user agreements, but I will tell you that as long as you are a decent human being and you're not telling people to go fuck themselves, excuse my French, you know, I say do it, man. Like, you are entitled to make that decision for yourself if you want to make money on this platform. And I think this is a great launching pad to pursue your dreams. YouTube is not only video games. YouTube is like Food Networks. It's anime. It's, you know, for a community for animators. It's a community for movie buffs. It's a community for tech videos. It's a community for how-tos. It's for speedrunners. All this kind of stuff. And I think that is a beautiful thing. I think it's beautiful that people can pave their own dreams on YouTube. And I know, like, some people probably do get bitter that, like, you can make money doing what you love, but hey, P.S., you can make money doing what you love, and why should that be a bad thing? You should not, like, I understand the concern of combining your love of something with monetary gain, but when you can contribute your work and your service to doing something that you care about and you're passionate about, that is not a bad thing. And if YouTube is a launching off point for that, I say go get it, man. I say go get it. That is, I've held that position for a little while now. I do not like people telling me I cannot chase my dreams. I do not like people telling me I am destined to work a job I don't love. I have dreams, I have aspirations, I'm gonna go get them, and I encourage everybody to do the same thing, whether it be with or without YouTube. Do it, man. Get your money, get yourself, get your life. Get your life. I'm talking like a coach right now, but man, I'm hyped. It's beautiful out. And this was a beautiful question from Terry. And you know, just to keep talking on the subject, why should you support YouTube creators, or why should YouTube creators be entitled to the right to get money on the platform? I grew up with you know, Game Informer. I grew up, you know, watching TV and stuff, and pretty much everything is chosen for you. But with YouTube comes a sort of freedom. It comes that freedom to almost speak your mind and let others speak their minds, and to also see who can provide the service that you want. Game reviewers who are titled, you know, who go through corporations, we've seen examples of them being bought out. I'm not, like, that's happened to YouTubers as well. But at least you know, and you can select when you want to support that creator, because you know and you trust them for the service that they provide. And, you know, it doesn't limit itself to video games for me and getting honest video game reviewers, but also for like, I subscribe to political channels, I subscribe to financial channels, I subscribe to a wealth of channels that provide some value in my life. And to be honest, I do see it worth supporting and helping to continue. If this platform was limited and you were not, like, those people did not have the ability to monetize their thoughts and ideas and their content that they create and edit and have teams working on, you would not have the same, first off, wealth of video content that they provide, but also you wouldn't have the same competitive nature in being, like, in trying to have them create the best product possible. You know, I'm an editor aficionado. I love video editing. I love making videos. I love this idea of broadcasting, and the idea of the fact
that, like, you know, people are supporting you will only make you want to work harder and make sure that you are providing for them. Will there be exceptions? Absolutely. Will there be people who pillage off their audience? Yes, but you know what happens to them? They get chastised. And if they redeem themselves, then so be it. I'm an absolute believer in the idea of redemption. I don't think we should, like, cancel voices, and, you know, but the other thing is too, people do need to be held accountable for their words and their actions, especially when it is causing harm to others, or causing them to do things that are bad. That's my take on it. I think if you support independent media will grow, and it will take over the practices that we dislike and that we don't love in a lot of, like, the corporate things that we see today, be they whatever platform they are. That's it for my response. Terry, I don't know if this is what you're expecting, but I hope you like it. I hope the viewers at home like it, and feel free to do a video response for yourselves. I don't know how I'm gonna title this, maybe something like the moral case for making money on YouTube, for YouTube content creators getting paid. But that's my thoughts on it. Feel free to chat with me in the comments or join me in the Discord, and I'll talk to you there. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Catch you next time. You've done it this time, Terry. There we go. I'm drinking tea. Tea for Terry. And Majora tea, because that's my name. Hey everybody, welcome to the Q&A segment for Majora Tea Speaks. This time we got a lot of questions to address for the questions and answers. It'll be fun. I already addressed one of them in a long-form video response. If you want to leave a question for the next Majora Tea Speaks segment, feel free to hop on over to the Sworn Brothers Discord and come join the family. It'll be fun, I promise. We don't bite. I'll be doing this a little differently. I've got the hotkeys on OBS, so I can just go back and forth. And I have little placement markers that tell you when the questions start for the next episode. The first question comes from Amir. I can kind of read that. I don't really want to butcher it, but thankfully Multimaster translated it for me. And he wants to know what games I like to play online. What are the best ones to play online besides Destiny and Outriders? So I don't play many, if any, games online, but I have played games online. My favorites are probably co-op ones where you play together. I was actually really bitter about Borderlands in college because one of my roommates and another one of my roommates played through all of the Borderlands games together, and they were like, yeah, dude, you should come play it. But they wouldn't play with me, and so I had to watch them play on their own. I played for like 20 minutes. I was like, screw this, I'm out. So I might have liked Borderlands, but one game that I really do have some nostalgia for, not that much, it was good though, is Darius Burst Savior Chronicles. It's on the PS4. I played it with Alex one time using SharePlay. I got the game on sale for like 25 bucks. Darius games are very challenging, and they are really meant to be played two-person. And so I had so much fun playing that one online. As far as other games that I've enjoyed online, this is crazy. I have nothing for Nintendo. I do not care to play any Nintendo games online. That's really like single-player experiences for me. But Warcraft 3 for Terry, that's why I got tea today, is a game that I used to enjoy doing matches for. I would go into some PvPs. I would play some players from around the world. I wasn't very good at it, but it was fun to have these tense RTS matches. And it's a genre that I would like to be more interested in. I just don't have the best gaming setup for PC gaming. But one day, maybe I'll go back to it and I'll just get Warcraft 3 and play matches online. That's the kind of game that's like endlessly playable, you know? It's really fun for that reason. I also enjoyed the campaign for some reason or other. I had it in German, so don't ask me about the narrative, but the matches themselves were fun. Good question, Amir. Thank you. Let's sip some tea for Terry because he's got
a bunch of questions that I don't even know if I can answer, but I will give it my best shot. And I'm going to drag this down a little bit because you keep seeing my hotkeys typed in the keyboard here. What's a game I don't like from a genre I'm crazy about? What genres am I crazy about? There's so many subgenres that's really hard to answer. So like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not crazy about Breath of the Wild, but I guess I'm pretty crazy about Zelda games. I think it's probably easier to just put like and dislike in for some of these questions. I do like the spaceship shooter genre. I suck at it. So I wouldn't say I'm crazy about the spaceship shooter genre. But there are some spaceship shooters that have completely turned me off from the genre. Ikaruga is one. I don't think much of it. And it's a game that has a lot of clout in the shmup community. It's... I don't know what it was. It was like the stages were purposefully too difficult. I like to know that I have a good level of challenge, but that game just was overkill for me. And so I was not crazy about Ikaruga. Let's go to the next question. What's the game I like, but it's on a console I hate? I don't hate any consoles, but let's just swap that with dislike. I don't even know, because I wouldn't say I dislike my PS2 right now. I actually really like it. What consoles do I dislike? That's the question. The Wii? What games are... What's the game I like on the Wii? I don't like the Wii. I really don't like the Wii U either. Yeah. Fortune Street for Wii. There you go. And Kirby and the... What the hell is it called? Rainbow Curse on Wii U is also really good. 2 games on consoles I'm not particularly fond of that I do enjoy. What's a game Alex likes that I hate? Again, it's hard to say I hate anything. Mad World. I didn't care for it. Wasn't interesting to me. What's the game Spencer likes that I hate? Again, I don't have any particular hate for anything, but you won't catch me playing KOTOR anytime soon. What's a game BioPhoenix likes that I hate? That's a hard one. I haven't even gotten to play half the games that BioPhoenix has talked about. I would like to try Shadow Hearts. I think that could be cool. I would like to try Deception. I think that would be cool. But goddamn, are they expensive. So I just wish that... I hate that they're so expensive. What's a game VG Mashup likes that I hate? Okay, that's probably a little easier. He's into the modern games and such. So I'm not crazy about the Breath of the Wild, but I don't hate it. Some of the more action heavy stuff, I just am not really that interested in trying. Like I tried Horizon Zero Dawn recently, and I did not care. I sound like Terry here, and I'm talking to Terry, but it's just so convoluted for the sake of being convoluted. I don't understand why I need to enable my peripherals to see the landscape, to hunt and with the skill tree, while also doing stealth segments to avoid robots that go in one circular pattern. Am I being judgmental of the game an hour in? Absolutely. But you know what? I am hard pressed to go back to it, especially since I haven't picked it up in a couple days. That's a bad sign. What's the game Malta Master hates that I like? Why did you reverse it for that one? What does he hate? He hates Mario Party 1. I love Mario Party 1. Maybe hate's strong for him too. I don't even think he hates it. I think he just doesn't like it as much as the others. So there you go, Terry. I don't know if that answered any of your questions, but I tried. Let's go now. You doing good, Bruno? Yes. This is my question. What's your favorite Mario Party game? 1. Mario Party 1 is my favorite. Why is it my favorite? It's the one I have the most memories of. I remember a lot of the mini games in it and having some good times with the local couch co-op. And afterwards, I didn't really care to try a lot of the other Mario parties. I hadn't played between 4 on the GameCube. The only other one that I played that was more recent than that is Super Mario Party on the Switch. Nothing in between. Did not care, did not want to spend top dollar to play a Mario Party. But that first one is the one that has the most classic boards to me. It has the most classic mini games. It's iconic when somebody takes last place and they get humiliated in front of all the other players. I love the first game. it's so iconic to me. The second one's good, for sure. I don't like the third one. I think the third one is overhyped. I don't think the mini games are very good, and I think the boards are kind of lame, and the star with the mustache throws me off, and the added modes aren't really that great. 3 is overhyped. People overrate Mario Party 3. Mario Party 1 is my favorite. It's just I like the fire jump rope one. Love that mini game. The boards are so good, man. I like the one in the sky. I know there's some chance element to it, but to me, Mario Party, the simpler, the better. There are things in Mario Party 2 I just thought were lame. I didn't like the duel mechanic when you duel another player. I think it's just a waste of time that everybody else has to watch. I don't mind the single player ones. I honestly look forward to them. The bobsled one, that is such a good mini game. Why they don't bring that back? They don't bring a lot of those 2v2 ones back. The bob-on basketball? Come on, Malta. You gonna tell me you don't like bob-on basketball in Mario Party 1? I hope I'm not wrong. I hope that's from Mario Party 1. Yeah. No, you can't convince me otherwise. That is my favorite. 4 is good for sure, but I don't think it's as good, even in terms of multiplayer, which is what Mario Party is about. So, but it's my memories of it. You have your memories of it. So be it. My palms are still good today. Good question, though. What is the most challenging platformer I ever played? From SNES Mapper. Well, it's funny that we're talking about the SNES, isn't it? Because I just finished Donkey Kong Country 2. It got really damn hard at the end there. But that doesn't make it harder than Slain. I hated that game. Well, I liked it until the part where you had like these little mini devils chasing you. Oh, what have I done to the screen? Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to fix that. There were in Slain, it's an indie game, and it's playable up until like the 41% marker. And then you have these little demons chasing you that'll pretty much, you can't even attack them right. And the floors are slippery. It sucked. It was lame. I hated that. And I just felt it was cheap. So that was really challenging. I also find Ice Climber really challenging, but I kind of enjoy it for like that arcade simplicity, and you can just pick and choose your stage. I hated Slain because you couldn't get any further in the game. That really just kind of pissed me off. It really grinds my gears. You know what I mean? I know what I mean. All right, we're moving on to the slew of Terry questions. What is the tastiest burger I've ever eaten? Wow, you're really coming in with the doozies. Terry. The tastiest burger is probably like a buffalo burger. I don't know. Barbecue sauce with the crispy fries and bacon. Yeah, I don't know. I can't even handle that kind of double meat stuff, but man, that's good. What is Alex's most hated game? Hey Pikmin on 3DS. How do I know this? He never fails to remind me. He loves the Pikmin series, and that he refuses to acknowledge Hey Pikmin as Pikmin 4. Although it's probably acknowledged as that. The other question I addressed in a separate video. Do I think YouTube monetization should disappear? No. Do I think everyone should be paid for making YouTube content? No. Do I think everyone should reserve the right to make money on YouTube? Yes. Simple as. But if you want my fuller thoughts, check out the video there. Terry, what's my favorite question I've received so far out of all the questions on this Q&A? I don't know. I like those kind of like overrated questions. Most overrated Zelda game. That's good. I liked the last question you asked me about YouTube. I tend to like talking about that kind of stuff if it's more controversial and I have opinions on it. So that was good. Those are some star questions to me. T for Terry time. I don't even think I can answer this next question, but I'm going to acknowledge it from Rave Racer. Is SSX tricky as a trick? No. But I like it. I just got it again for PS2, so I'm looking forward to playing it again. Funny question. All right, Terry309 with the next one. Are Tony Hawk's Underground and Need for Speed Underground related? If so, how? Dude, I have no idea. Brothers, cousins, same universe, how are they connected? You've gone to the wrong channel, Terry. I have no idea. But, I guess Bruno's got an answer for you. Terry, what is my favorite elemental dungeon that is not in a Zelda game? Favorite elemental dungeon not in a Zelda game? That's easy. In honor of the the remake coming out. Remake? Remaster. No, reboot. There we go. I have to throw some love to the cave stage in Pokemon Snap, where there is voltage that powers the televisions. You can make Pikachu chase after a Voltorb by throwing an apple to it, and then it goes and jumps on top of the Voltorb, and it charges power to the whole power plant. And you can make one explode. The mood is really atmospheric. You see Zubats flying around, and it's a very, I don't know, it's very un-Pokemon-esque, but yet so nostalgic. I love that stage. That's a good question, Terry. And let's close it up here from Terry309. What is my favorite Zelda temple? Whoa, that's a question. Favorite Zelda temple? Well, let's just talk about it for a little bit. What are the Zelda temples? In Ocarina of Time, you have classic standard temples. You have like if you go from Adult Link, which are the best ones, Forest Temple, Fire Temple, Water Temple, Shadow Temple, Light Temple. Or there's no Light Temple. It's just the Temple of Hyrule, of Light. The Forest Temple in that one is definitely a standout. Spirit Temple is good, but Forest Temple is a classic. In Majora's Mask is when they start getting real playful. You have like the I don't even know the names of these temples. That's bad. I should probably know them. It's like the Deku Shrine, and then you have the Snowhead Mountain, and you have that like tower, the inverted tower that turns on its head, and then there's the Great Zora Bay, which you have to take a turtle to get to. I love those stages, those temples rather. They're somehow mysterious, and yet they all kind of have that mystic element to them. And it's hard to put any one above another in them because they all have such subtle ways of storytelling. For instance, for Snowhead Mountain, it's like you have to play a lullaby for a Goron that you can't see, but you can hear singing into the wind in order to put it to sleep. And there's like this whole cinematic moment before it. It's so good. And then when you flip the tower on its head, you play it from the ceiling up. The design in that is insane. Can you imagine first time going to like 3D gaming and they make something that well put together and intense? You have some crazy battles there. You get a whole new mask in that temple. I think it's called like Stone Tower or something. I don't remember. It's been too long. I owe it a replay. Maybe if you guys want a narrative analysis for Majora's Mask, you can let me know. From that point on, I honestly, you know what's crazy is Skyward Sword had some really damn good temples as well. I think like the first one and a couple of them, they just feel massive. It's like you really feel the sensation that these are real markers of ancient civilizations and some kind of master architecture. The game itself is okay. It's not a bad game. It's not a great game. But my gosh, that is an understated high point of Skyward Sword is it has some of the best temples. I don't really much care for the ones in Twilight Princess, but I've never gotten far enough in the game to really make that statement, so I can't really speak to it. In Breath of the Wild, I haven't even found a temple. I've just found these little shrine things. It's too distracting. So I would probably go with... That's hard. I would say the fourth temple in Majora's Mask. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me right now, but it's that one where you have to play the song, like it's not the elegy of emptiness. It's something like that in order to make the thing flip on its head, and then you explore it two ways. It's just so iconic in so many ways, and I would love nothing more than the chance to talk about that. So that's going to do it for Q&A. Thanks for the questions, y'all. Don't forget, you can leave a question for next Game Talk in the Discord. But for now, we're going to take a look at the next segment, which is the viewer voicemail. You can leave me a voicemail at any time for the next Majority Speaks at the following number, 1-917-267-8313. Once again, that's 1-917-267-8313. We got a voicemail from a longtime friend of the show. I've known him for a while, and I'm very pleased to hear from him. I'm glad he called. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and he's got a good question that is very much pertinent to his name, and I want to play it for you as soon as I can figure out how to get my headphones untangled. What have I done? Okay, here we go. Cool. Let's play it in 3, 2, 1.
Yo, what's up, Majora T? It is
up, man?
Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Just saying what's up to another fellow Long Islander with close 7-Elevens but high taxes.
Oh, yeah. Every corner.
Hope all is well. Since you'll most likely answer a question or something with this voicemail, I figured I'd throw one in there. What Dreamcast game do you feel has held up the best,
Gotcha.
in current times? I know a lot of Dreamcast games are really great still, graphically and gameplay-wise, even better than the PS2 if you ask me, but what do you think held up the best in 2021 on the Dreamcast? Anyway, buddy, I hope you're well, and we will talk soon. Be good.
Very well, Mike, and I love the question. It's a great question, and it's a console I don't have much experience with. The only Dreamcast I have ever owned is an import model Sega Dreamcast where I play Japanese games and ones that were region-free. So the full extent of my Dreamcast collection was Virtua Fighter 3TB, Sonic Adventure International Edition, where you could switch between English and Japanese, a Shiren the Wanderer game, Shiren, I don't know. How do you pronounce it? And Mach X, which I never even tried. And then I owned Shenmue as well, which I played a little bit in Japanese, and I played it on the PS4, and I cannot for the life of me get into Shenmue. I don't know if it holds up well. I would love to say Shenmue. It looks beautiful. It sounds great, but games have done better than Shenmue recently, in recent years. In that case, I would go in the homebrew route. There's a lot of amazing homebrews for the Dreamcast that give life to old consoles in meaningful ways. I loved Stormwind. I thought that was a great game, and it was easy to get a copy. It wasn't easy to get a lot of these other shooters for the console, even import ones. And Stormwind was so much fun. It really just screamed passion in terms of just this visual appeal, this explosiveness on the screen, this kind of, I don't know, the music sensation was terrific. I had such a great time playing Stormwind. And they brought it back on the Switch with the EX edition. It's Stormwind EX. It's digital only as far as I know, but that's the Dreamcast game that I can't get enough of. So definitely a favorite. Although I would love to try Shiren one day when I perfect Watashi no Nihongo o Des. I don't know. No des. Nix the des. My Japanese. But that's it. Thanks, Mike, for the question. Don't forget to leave a voicemail for the next show, and I will see you then. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to drink some more tea for Terry. I know he thinks I'm a fraud, but hey, I do drink tea. I just like to savor it, okay? Thanks for watching. See you next time.